So let's begin with this. If you prefer Sakura to Hinata, pause this video and write Sakura in the comments section. But if you side with the Hyuga heiress, drop a Hinata below. No shame in standing your ground. Now that that's out of the way, let's begin. You see, one of the most frustrating aspects of Naruto, despite all its brilliance, the layered world building, the shinobi philosophy, the generational and legendary battles, was the way romance was handled. Love, in this story, was always, how should I put this? Adjacent. Present, but never quite prioritized. It was basically treated like a side quest in an RPG. And when you try to make sense of how Naruto ended in terms of emotional closure, especially between Naruto, Hinata, Sakura, and Sasuke, things start to feel a bit off. Why is that? Well, allow me to cook. You see, Kishimoto, for all his narrative genius, simply did not write romance with intention. There was no slow burn, no development arcs, no conflict and resolution. But what there were lots of were unspoken feelings, long silences, and one movie trying to do the heavy lifting of 700 episodes of emotional neglect. Now, let's talk Sakura Haruno. A divisive character? Yes. I mean, she's the butt of jokes in all anime conversations and forums, but let's be honest, her arc doesn't go without merit. Her growth in strength and confidence is evident, especially in Shippuden. But when it comes to love, specifically her obsession with Sasuke, it was just downright stupid. Ask yourself, what did Sasuke ever truly give her in return? What moment post-part 1 ever signaled emotional reciprocity? Even when Sakura risks her life, cries for him, fights for him, begs him to come back, Sasuke remains emotionally unavailable, cold, detached, and in moments where he could have given her a sliver of warmth, he instead attempts to kill her. He literally tries to end her life twice. Just ask Karen. And guess what? In the end, they're married with a child. And surprise, surprise, they've been living separately for years, roaming the world on some redemption quest, while Sarada grows up asking, why doesn't Papa come home? Man was about to murk his own offspring and didn't even know. What a great dad. Tragic in every sense, not gonna lie. It feels like the story demanded a pairing for closure, not because it was earned. Now don't get it twisted. I'm not saying Sakura didn't deserve happiness. I'm saying the writing didn't earn her the one she was given. If you've ever loved someone who didn't love you back, who made you feel like an afterthought, then maybe you understand what it feels like to be Sakura Haruno. But the difference with reality is most people would eventually move on, but not Sakura. Oh no, she stayed. Through attempted murder, emotional abandonment, and silence. Some say that that's love in its rawest form, of which I don't quite understand. But then again, maybe that's just me.
Allow me to say a little bit about this topic.
Oh, Ghost has been chefing up something. I know you've been itching to chime in. Take it away, Ghost.
Glint, you don't have to make everything so dramatic. Anyway, I think what plagued Sakura was a sense of attachment without evolution. Sakura certainly grew stronger physically, but when it came to her emotional development, she continued to pursue a goal that never truly wanted to be achieved. I'll end my thoughts on Sakura Haruno here. Let's shift our focus to Hinata Hyuga now. Hinata saw through Naruto's rough exterior, past his reputation as the class clown or as the host of the Nine-Tailed Fox. She saw him for who he truly was, before anyone else did. Hinata observed silently, never drawing attention to herself. She preferred to stay in the background, maintaining a soft presence that was consistently present.
Not gonna lie, Hinata gave off that stalker vibe. Not saying she was cray-cray. Actually, we need to have that checked.
Hinata's love, despite being quiet and understated, was truly the strongest among all the relationships showcased in the series. Now, here is where distinction matters. From the start, Hinata sensed Naruto's pain. Her compassion stemmed from having experienced a similar kind of suffering herself. Hinata faced the disapproval of her clan, the cold gaze of her father, and the burden of meeting expectations she didn't ask for. Hinata admired Naruto not for his physical power, but for his resilience and unyielding spirit. Despite facing constant humiliation and hostility, Naruto remained unbroken. It was exactly that inner strength that Hinata found admirable about him. Over time, that admiration deepened into a profound love. Hinata found herself falling for the very qualities that made Naruto so unique and compelling.
But here's the tragedy. Her love was ignored, not by us, the viewers, but by the narrative.
That's precisely what I was getting at. Hinata's love for Naruto stemmed from a deep understanding of his pain and a profound admiration for his resolve. Hinata's admission of love during the pain arc was a deeply emotional moment that brought the audience to tears. Her courage and vulnerability in expressing her feelings under such dire circumstances was truly powerful and heartfelt. Hinata stood there facing a literal deity of destruction, aware that victory was unlikely, yet she chose to fight, to speak. Despite the danger, she refused to back down. This fearless display of courage and determination in the face of impossible odds was deeply moving. Hinata took a deep breath, her heart pounding in her chest, declared with unwavering conviction, "I love you, Naruto. I always have." After Hinata's heartfelt confession, Naruto's transformation scene commenced. In a way, it felt like that intense moment was just a plot device to bring about Naruto's transformation, rather than a real, profound moment between characters. Hinata's heartfelt words were lost in the chaos of the moment. There was no follow-up conversation, no closure given to the emotional turmoil that just took place.
Was probably super awkward for her. It makes you wonder, what was the point of giving her that scene? Just replace her with literally any other member of any other team in the village and Naruto would have still gone berserk. It begs the question, was Hinata ever meant to be seen as a real romantic candidate or just a narrative tool?
For over 100 episodes, there was no acknowledgement or resolution to the pivotal moment of Hinata's admission of love. Despite the lack of follow-up after the confession, Naruto and Hinata ultimately ended up together, which does offer some resolution to their relationship arc.
He ended up with her, yes, but the question is, how? Through The Last, a movie, not the manga, not the series we all followed for years, a separate, cleanly packaged, postscript attempt to correct something that should have been a natural evolution. In The Last, we finally see Naruto realize what Hinata's always felt. We see him notice her, not just as the shy girl with the Byakugan, but as a woman. He sees her memories, her sacrifice, her devotion, and then he falls for her. But this begs the question, and an uncomfortable truth. Would Naruto have ever loved Hinata without being shown her inner world? Was it love? Was it pity? Or was it gratitude? When someone shows you unconditional love, it's easy to accept it, but that doesn't always mean you return it in kind, and that's the tension, isn't it? We wanted Hinata to win, but we, the viewers, also wanted her win to mean something, to feel earned, to see Naruto choose her not because she was there, but because she was right for him, and still, even with all that's said, maybe, just maybe, love in war zones doesn't follow logic. Maybe Hinata was Naruto's calm after the storm.
And what's perhaps most telling about this situation is how Naruto, the object of Hinata's affection, responded to her confession. It seemed like he didn't fully grasp the depth of her feelings. If we're talking about romance, missed moments, and emotional complexity, then we have to focus on Naruto himself. His inability or unwillingness to acknowledge Hinata's feelings speaks volumes about his own emotional unavailability. Naruto Uzumaki had many admirable qualities. He was bold, loyal, resilient, and inspiring. But his emotional development lagged behind his physical and social growth. This was a direct result of his traumatic childhood, marked by isolation and the weight of the world on his shoulders. Naruto had spent most of his life striving to be seen, acknowledged, and accepted. He yearned for something as basic as being noticed. It's no surprise then that the concept of love remained elusive to him. How could he understand something he had never experienced? Naruto wasn't a clueless guy, but his emotional scars kept him from seeing what was right in front of him. His past left him blind to Hinata's feelings. It's a tragic consequence of the pain he had endured.
Sorry to cut in there, buddy. Bro was definitely clueless.
見て見て
Naruto, having been denied even the tiniest bit of attention growing up, saw each act of kindness as a precious gift. Whether it came from Sakura, Iruka, Jiraiya, or even Sasuke, his emotional spectrum was limited to the basics: care, affection, acknowledgement.
Yep, took the words right out of my mouth. Even Sasuke. Bro chased Sasuke throughout the series with more emotional energy than he gave to any romantic connection. And while that bond was brotherhood, not romance, I think it reveals something critical. Naruto craved connection, and he pursued it relentlessly, wherever he thought he could find it. And that's the thing, one would ask. Didn't Naruto have a crush on Sakura?
Naruto did have a crush on Sakura, but it was a shallow one born out of his desire to impress and be noticed. It lacked the depth and comprehension of true affection and love. He was desperate for attention and validation, and his infatuation with Sakura was simply a manifestation of that. While Naruto struggled with emotional intelligence due to a lack of experience, Sasuke's problem was quite the opposite. He had the emotional capacity to understand and connect with others, but he intentionally disconnected himself from that world. While Naruto was clueless and naive, Sasuke was guarded and distant. Sasuke's emotional state wasn't a flaw but an expected consequence of his tragic backstory. Haunted by the weight of a legacy soaked in betrayal, Sasuke chose isolation as a defense mechanism. His dedication to revenge overshadowed any room for vulnerability or connection with others. Sasuke's emotional walls were a defense mechanism against the pain of his past and the burden of his destiny. He isolated himself not only to shield himself from further heartbreak but also to prevent others from getting hurt because of him. Sasuke's relationship with Sakura was far from fulfilling. He acknowledged her presence, offered her a few words of praise, but rarely did he make any attempt to understand or nurture her feelings. He was emotionally unavailable, leaving Sakura to pine over a relationship that was largely one-sided.
From the beginning, she adored him, idolized him. But what did Sasuke ever offer her? A few compliments in the Chunin exams? A faint thank you after the mission to the Land of Waves? That was their dynamic. Sakura gave, Sasuke endured. He tolerated her affection. Sakura's love, as intense and well-meaning as it was, became a threat to Sasuke. Because when people love you, they start to tether you to the world. And Sasuke didn't want to be tethered. Bro wanted to burn the world, not be saved by it.
Sasuke's actions, whether harsh or violent, were not driven by cruelty. They were the result of a deep-seated belief that he was beyond redemption and connection, leading him to deliberately distance himself from those who cared for him. It was a defense mechanism born from the weight of his burdens and the guilt he carried. Sakura's love for Sasuke remained steadfast even in the face of his repeated rejection. Despite the pain and heartache he caused her, she couldn't bring herself to give up. As he walked away, seeking redemption and absolution, Sakura made a choice. She let him go, even if it meant holding on to that love forever, without his reciprocation. Even as Sasuke left, Sakura's love for him didn't fade. She didn't love him for the person he was, but for the person he could be, the one she believed he was meant to be. It was an unwavering faith born out of love, sacrifice, and hope.
But here's the twist. He does come back. He marries her. They have a child, and yet he's absent, distant, a wanderer still. Is that growth, or is that unfinished trauma wearing a wedding ring? We rarely see them talk. We never see them heal. Their bond skips the rebuilding stage entirely and lands on a future we're just expected to accept. And maybe that's what stings the most. Not that Sakura loved Sasuke, but that the story never let us see Sasuke love her back. Not in the way she needed, not in the way we needed. So let's take a step back now. We've talked about Sakura, about Hinata, about Naruto and Sasuke. But maybe the real question isn't, did these pairings make sense? Maybe the question is, were they even necessary? Because at its core, Naruto was never a love story.
Naruto at its heart was a tale of a boy destined for greatness, overcoming the odds and proving his worth to the world. The series concluded with the characters finding their own happiness, forming families and couples, and embracing the domesticity that once seemed inconceivable, wrapping up the characters' journeys in a way that felt both earned and hopeful.
Almost like it was trying to say, this is what peace looks like. Look, they're married now. Everything's fine. But is it? Sakura is with Sasuke, who's rarely home. Naruto is with Hinata, yet his own son grows up craving his attention. Shikamaru marries Temari. Sai ends up with Ino. Choji with Karui. Suddenly, everyone has a family, a name, a household. Like the story needed these romantic checkboxes to feel complete.
You're touching on an interesting point. The addition of romance at the end, while not being inherently bad, felt rushed and lacking in depth. Real love requires time to develop and evolve, and the sudden pairings at the end felt somewhat superficial compared to the more profound emotional arcs that Naruto had already gone through.
Imagine a scene where Naruto asks Hinata why she risked her life. A moment where Sasuke admits, not with a smirk, but with a sigh, that he doesn't know how to love, but wants to learn. A conversation between Sakura and Naruto, not about missions, not about training, but about moving on. Letting go. Healing. As friends, we're talking canon episodes now, not filler. These things require pauses from the action-packed sequences. And the sad bit is that Naruto, the show, for all its brilliance, never paused for love. It simply raced toward resolution. And in that sprint, some feelings were left behind.
You've captured a crucial aspect of love. It needs space, time to grow, to stumble and recover, and most importantly, vulnerability. It's possible the real legacy of Naruto's romantic arcs is the lessons they teach us about the complexities of love. Real relationships need time, space, and genuine vulnerability. It's about the quiet moments and the unspoken understanding. Grand gestures and dramatic confessions might seem spectacular, but the true meaning of love is often found in the smallest, most ordinary moments. So maybe the real legacy is about appreciating the real, not just the idealized. Not what they gave us, but what they could have given. Conversations never had. A kind of tenderness the story just didn't know how to tell. Naruto may have ended with weddings and children, but that doesn't mean it ended with clarity. And that's okay, because what's left unsaid becomes a space for us.
And maybe that's why it still matters till this day. If you've made it this far, you're definitely one of the OGs. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about the dynamics of their relationships? Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Keep watching us on Anime Freak TV. Ghost, any final words?
There's nothing more to add. I've said my bit.
Awesome. Maybe one of these days, Ghost would come show you guys his girlfriend.
Wait.
Anyways,
Glint.
thanks for watching. Glint out.
You can't just say that.